Thank you for joining us today. My name is Yeshua Shivanov, and we are here today in Yeshiva Etzion discussing the various shiurim of the Torah. And as you can see clearly on the board, we started discussing yesterday the first segment of our sessions, discussing exactly what is considered the shiur of a kibbutza. We know Chazal tell us throughout Shas that the measurement that the Torah prescribes for us to be considered to having eaten a full-fledged meal is considered a bitzah, which, roughly speaking, could be described as the volume of an egg. Now, throughout the generations and the various poskim, starting from the Geonim until today, there have been vast discussions about exactly what is considered the proper measurement of a kibbutza. So we started saying yesterday various opinions, starting from the Geonim until the Rambam, and unfortunately we're not able to have this have the introduction to be posted yesterday, but we're going to make as quick of a recap as possible. So we brought down the three different opinions regarding the Geonim, exactly what they held to be the shiur of a kibbutza. The first one we stated was Rav Hillel Gaon, and it must be understood that the precedence for having the shiur of a kibbutza was using the value of the silver weight of the time. Basically, they used the amount of silver weights that they figured would be considered to be the exact same proportion to the volume of an egg, and based on their measurements, they were able to convert one unit to the other to show exactly what the standard unit of the time was. And this was a standard custom. As we're going to see throughout the generations, they used the silver weight of the time in order to figure out what the volume of an egg would be as related to that. So with that in mind, Rav Hillel Gaon said the following, that as a recap, we discussed that 16.67 units of silver of his time was considered to be the standard of volume of an egg. Now we have a measurement that preceded the ounces and the pounds, which was known as a darham. So it is stated that each silver unit that was possessed in his time was valued at the weight of 1 darham. Therefore, according to the opinion of Rav Hillel Gaon, who says that 16.67 silver units is considered the volume of an egg, therefore, it's 16.67 darham in essence. So the question is, what is the volume of a darham? So we discussed that depending on the place where the setting was taking, the darham's weight and volume would differ accordingly. Since the Gaonim, they're discussing the darham as recorded in Babylon, in present-day Iraq. Therefore, we're using the darham as related to Babylonian standards, which was 2.97 grams. And we discussed something very interesting, because when we say grams, usually we think gram as a measurement of... Sorry, one moment. As a measurement of mass. Standard chemistry for all the Chem 1 students. Gram is typically taken as a measure of mass, but in regards to volume, we know grams could also be converted into centimeter cubed, right? So we know that the standard, if we have, I'm using the different color-coded marker. We would have, for hypothetically speaking, if that's your container, since we have no blue, we're going to make purple for the water. Therefore, considering that this is a container full of water, if we were to take one centimeter on each side, right, centimeter cubed based on height, length, and width, we're going to take through the volume of 1 gram exactly in the case of water. Therefore, when we're dealing with grams, it can be easily converted to volume because of this case. So that just gives a brief chemistry lesson exactly why grams is being used as opposed to any other measurement. And simply put, because it is also a measurement of volume. So, therefore, the standard for the darham of his time was equal to 2.97 grams. So, therefore, if we have 16.67 darham for the silver units and 2.97 grams per unit, therefore, according to our measurements today, we would have 49.5 grams for a beitzah, according to Rav Hillel Gaon. The next was the Shitat Shel Tod. He was the next Gaon that we discussed. And according to him, he said 120 silver coins was considered a log. Now we know a log is considered 6 beitzim. 6 beitzim. Therefore, if we have 120 silver units in one log, if we divide it by 6, we get 20 units of silver, which is also equal to 20 darham. As we stated that 1 darham was considered 1 silver unit. Doing the same mathematical computation, we get 20 units of silver times 2.97, as we've done before, would get you to 59.5 grams for the kibbutz unit. The third, unfortunately we do not have space over here. I'm going to have to rewrite it quickly. The third was Rabbeinu Yitzchak Alfasi, the Rif. And he stated that 1 log, like the Shitat Shel Tod, he used the standard of a log in order to figure out the beitzah. He said 1 log, simply put, was equal to 144 darham. And when we divide it by 6 to get 1 kine beitzah, we get is equal to, I'm sorry, my math is not too well today, is equal to 24 darham for the beitzah. So we do again 24 times 2.97, do the quick math, and we get approximately 70.8 grams for the beitzah. We discussed also in relation to the beitzah what a revi'it would be. We know a revi'it in the Torah is 1.5 beitzim. We know this from the fact that a revi'it is 1/4 of a log. That's why it's called a revi'it, meaning a quarter in Hebrew. And a beitzah is 1/6 of a log. So by definition, since a revi'it is greater than beitzah, we do the math and we figure out that a revi'it is 1.5 log. So according to the Rif, what we would have is, if we say 70.8 grams is 1 beitzah, if we multiply it by 1.5, we could easily figure out what the revi'it standard would be, and we get to a large portion of 106.2 grams. That would be the revi'it standard for having a volume to be consumed in order to say a bracha achrona after it. All right, that is the Rif. That's the last of the Geonim. And quickly, we're going to discuss the Rambam. The Rambam. Maimonides. We discussed yesterday that unlike the Geonim, he did not take the standard for face value, but he did it rather through his own experimentation. He figured out on his own what would be the volume that would be necessary for both a beitzah and a revi'it. So he stated that since wine is considered less dense than water, he figured out that 1 revi'it of wine, would be 26 darham, as opposed to a revi'it of water, which is obviously being more dense, would have a large value of 27 darham. The Rambam, unlike his Babylonian predecessors, he used the dirham that was used in Egypt, and therefore it had a different weight. So according to the Rambam, at his time in Egypt, the dirham was weighed, one dirham was equal to 2.82 grams. 2.82 grams. And therefore, when we do the computation to understand how much of a revi'it would be necessary in terms of water, so that we could convert it to beitzah. And the reason is why when we would convert a revi'it to a beitzah, why we don't use the standard for wine, is because everything is in relation to water. When we discuss volume, we know there's two different methods of how to calculate it. One of the methods is through displacement, to seeing how much water escapes a cylinder when an object is placed inside. That is considered the displacement, and that would be its volume. So in regards to that, we always use water as opposed to wine, since water is the standard unit for it, and wine would have a different value since it's considered more or less. So therefore, if we would convert a revi'it into beitzah, we would use the revi'it of water as opposed to wine. With that said, we have that a revi'it would be 27 times 2.82. So we're going to put over here 27 times approximately 2.82, and we get 77.3 grams, the very bottom over here. And that would be the revi'it. We just come over here. To figure out how much that would be for beitzah, we do the opposite. We do 77.3, and we multiply it by 2 over 3. Since a beitzah is 2/3 of a revi'it, so we come to this computation and we get 50 grams, according to the Rambam, is a beitzah. And that's this point that we left off, and now we're going to continue with various shitot of the Rishonim. And the first one we're going to discuss is the Poskei Ashkenaz, the Poskim of Germany, how they came to their measurement. And they came to a consensus that the proper way to doing it was the following. We're going to say Poskei Ashkenaz. They stated the following, that the measurement of separating for challah was 2003 Polish pints. 2003 grams was equal to a Polish pint. (2003 grams is equal to the Polish pint. And according to this, they say the following, that the Torah tells us that in order to separate for challah, you need to have the measurement of a tenth of an ephah. 1/10 of an ephah. So what's a tenth of an ephah? We know a very good mnemonic in order to figure that out. We have a very known mnemonic called Askalab Gudu. It's an acronym. Aleph stands for ephah, Samach stands for se'ah, Kuf stands for kav, Lamed stands for log, and the bet stands for beitzah. And what this really means is, if we want to figure out from one measurement to another, we just have to work backwards. So how many beitzim is in one log? So we just look at the number underneath, we see vav. So vav, we know has a value of 6, so 6 beitzim is equal to 1 log. And then we can do the same thing. We have 4 log in 1 kav, 6 kav in 1 se'ah, and 3 se'ah in one ephah over here. So if we want to know how many beitzim is in 1 ephah, all we have to do is we multiply all this. So when we do 6 times 4 times 6 times 3, we get 432 beitzim in 1 ephah by doing the simple math over here. And it turns out that if we're going to have 1/10 of an ephah to separate for challah, we just do 432 divided by 10, and we get 43.2 beitzim in order to separate for challah. And that's what they say over here. The Polish pint, 2,003 grams, is what is necessary in order to separate for challah. So how does that relate to beitzah? Simple. Because if we need 43.2 beitzim in order to make 2,003 grams, so one beitzah, simple way to do it is to divide 2,003 divided by 43.2. So we do the math again. 43.2. And we get the following number: 46 grams per beitzah, according to the Poskei Ashkenaz. Which, as we've seen before, this is the smallest unit. This is the smallest of all opinions as we've seen until now. So Poskei Ashkenaz were very lenient in this case, or strict in whatever way you want to see it. Finally, we get to 2 more opinions that differed greatly as opposed to the predecessors. Using a different one now. We have the opinion of the Noda Beyehuda. Noda Beyehuda. And just to say, he was agreed upon by both the Gra, the Gaon of Vilna, and the Khatam Sofer. So he has backing up for this. And they stated that in order to measure volume in terms of a revi'it, you have to use not silver coins as we've seen before, or the pints that were used, but they said by using thumbs. Very interesting shita that they have over here, 2 thumbs. So we're not going to get into the whole thing exactly how they came to such a theory, because the whole process behind it is very elucidated. But nonetheless, they gave a very simple thing in order to figure it out. You see it? All right. Here's a formula. Thumb size to the 3rd power, and we'll see why, times 10.8. Okay. So what does this mean? So we take the standard size of a thumb, whatever it is, 1.5 inches, about 1 inch, we'll say. So if we're going to take in a one-dimensional piece to see the size of a thumb, okay, we're going to use the length. Okay, but in order to figure out volume we know by definition focuses on both length, width, and height. Okay, so it has to take all dimensions into perspective. Therefore, if we're going to use the average thumb size, we have to put it to the 3rd power in order to figure out exactly what its volume would be. And according to Noda Beyehuda and the Gra and the Khatam Sofer, there is 10.8 cubic thumb sizes in 1 revi'it. Alright? So the question is, all we have to figure out right now is what's the thumb size that's using in order for us to figure out what the revi'it would be. So they stated that 2.34 centimeters is equal to 1 thumb. 1 thumb. An average thumb. 2.34 centimeters, approximately 1 inch. So now we plug it in. We do 2.34 to the third power times 10.8 to get the revi'it. Now if we want to find the beitzah, we know that a beitzah is 2/3 of 1 revi'it. So we multiply it by 2/3, and we get the large value of 93 grams, also known as 93 centimeter cube in volume. The Shitat of Nandai Yehuda comes out 93 centimeter cube. We're going to see one more opinion that's going to outbeat this one. It's going to be the largest of all opinions, and that is that of the Chazon Ish. Chazon Ish. He used the exact same formula. The only difference was that the thumb size he used was a little larger. He said instead of 2.34 centimeters, he said it was really 2.4 centimeters. 2.4 centimeters. So therefore we cube it times 10.8. That's to find the revi'it. According to him, the revi'it would be 149 grams for a revi'it. Tremendous amount. Again, 149 grams for a revi'it times 2/3 to figure out beitzah. We have 100 grams for a beitzah according to the Chazon Ish. This is the largest opinion, and we're going to see exactly in what circumstances this opinion is regarding halakha. Last but not least, we have Rav Na'eh. Rav Na'eh. Now Rav Na'eh, he holds like the Rambam. We said Rambam, for the revi'it, we know he said that it would have 27 darham, according to the Rambam. Therefore, if one revi'it is 1.5 of a beitzah, so then 2/3 of the revi'it would be 1 beitzah, which is 2/3 of 27. Right? So 27 darham times 2/3 is equal to 18 darham. 18 darham for 1 beitzah. But unlike the Rambam, he did not use the darham of Egypt. He was from Turkey. Therefore, he used the Turkish darham, which had a different weight than the one that Rambam used. As we said previously, it was 2.82 grams. He used the Turkish darham, which was 3.205 grams, substantially greater. So, in order to figure it out, we do the quick math again. We do 18 times 3.205 grams per darham, and we get to the number 57.6 grams for a beitzah. $57.6 grams for a beitzah. And although the Rambam, as we said before, had a different shita, and we saw that it was really 50 grams for a beitzah, the Sephardim, quoted by Rav Chaim Pelagi, says that over there that Sephardim hold like Rabbeinu Na'eh as opposed to the Rambam in this regard. So now we saw all the shitot. To list all of them, we have 4 in total. We have the Poskei Ashkenaz, who said that 46 grams is the Beitzah, which was the least of all of them. The Rambam, who held 50 grams, is a Beitzah, using the Egyptian Darham. We saw Rabbeinu Na'eh with his Shita of 57.6, using the Turkish Darham. And finally, the greatest of all opinions, by the Nodab Yehuda and the Chazon Ish, followed by the Gra and the Khatam Sofer, somewhere between 90 to 100 grams, using not silver weights, but through the standards of thumbs, cubed, as we've seen previously. So now in terms of halacha, we have these four opinions and exactly how everything is held. So the Mishnah Berurah for Ashkenazim, he says for mitzvah deoraita, any mitzvah that has associated with the Torah, if in regards to kiddush at night or how much matzah you have to eat, he says we go chumrah like the Nodab Yehuda and the Chazon Ish. I'm sorry, like the Chazon Ish, and which we said was 100, which is 100 grams for a beitzah. Therefore, for matzah, they would have to eat for the beitzah. It would have to be 100 grams, or for a revit of kiddush, it would have to be 150 centimeter cubed in volume. But for things that are mitzvah d'Rabbanan, like a cross bracha, or the kiddush shel yom, they could do the opinions we said previously of the Poskei Ashkenaz, which is much lower, and was 46 grams as opposed to 150, almost a third less. 2/3 less, 1/3 of it. The Sephardim, and the Dut HaMizrach, they follow strictly Rav Na'eh. And Rav Avadi Yosef, saying that there are various opinions exactly what was the value of a darham. We saw 2.8, 3.2. He says strictly, since it's somewhere in the middle, we take 3, right? The average of 3. Therefore, like the opinion that was stated before, that one beitzah is 18 darham, we go 18 darham times 3 grams per darham. We have the beitzah, according to Sephardim, is 54 grams. Therefore, that's how the Sephardim posek, and the Ashkenazim, they posek, as we've seen before, either like the Poskei Ashkenaz in lenient cases, or for Chumrah, like the Nodab Yehuda or the Chazon Ish. Thank you very much. Today we discussed all the shitot, and hopefully we'll be able to come back to you in the future and discuss various shiurim as well. Have a good day.